12 factory settings inside your Nissan quietly sabotage your engine and continuously variable transmission reliability and lifespan. From eco-mode tricks that cook your transmission belt to direct injection habits that choke your valves with carbon, these defaults pile up secret repair bills for long-term owners. Which one punishes your drivetrain hardest of all? Let's go straight to number 12, and remember, the biggest killer waits at number 1. Number 12. Eco Mode running your Xtronic CVT in the wrong power band. Your Nissan Eco Mode is marketed as a free fuel economy upgrade. What Nissan does not advertise is how that same setting reshapes the way your Xtronic CVT operates every second you drive, and in the wrong conditions, the long-term damage adds up quickly. Here is what Eco Mode actually does. It commands lower shift points, earlier upshifts, and keeps your engine hovering around 1500 RPM when a conventional calibration would sit closer to 2500 RPM. On a Rogue, Altima, Qashqai, or Pathfinder, that means your engine spends the majority of its life lugging at low revs, while your Xtronic CVT constantly hunts between simulated ratios to stay inside the efficiency band. Mechanics and owner forums report that constant low RPM lugging under load, repeated across tens of thousands of miles, can accelerate wear on your bearings, your belt, and your pulley contact surfaces. The damage pattern is clear on hilly terrain and in city traffic. Your Xtronic CVT hunts ratios repeatedly to maintain a fuel economy target. Each hunt generates heat in the fluid. Each lug loads the engine outside its happy band. Stack that across 5 or 10 years of daily driving, and your drivetrain shows symptoms of premature wear long before it should. Valve body and solenoid work on a Jatco CVT typically runs between $3,500 and $5,500. A full CVT replacement climbs to $7,500. The fix is simple. Use Eco Mode for long, steady highway cruising where it was actually designed to help. Switch to normal mode for city traffic, hills, and anywhere your CVT needs consistent ratio control. Your engine and transmission were engineered to work together in a specific band. Fighting that band everywhere is not protecting efficiency. It is quietly shortening your ownership. Another factory habit hides inside your CVT shifter. Number 11. Using CVT manual mode as a daily driving toy. Your Nissan gives you simulated gears and paddle shifters on most modern trims, and most owners have no idea that using them aggressively is one of the fastest ways to cook a CVT. The Xtronic transmission in your Altima, Maxima, or Pathfinder does not actually have gears. It generates ratios continuously by varying the position of two pulleys connected by a metal belt, and forcing it to hold fixed ratios for long stretches works against its fundamental engineering. Here is what happens inside the transmission when you live in manual mode. Each simulated gear locks the pulleys into a preset position. The CVT fluid circulation pattern changes. Heat concentrates in specific zones of the belt and pulley contact. Over time, that localized heat glazes friction surfaces and accelerates fluid breakdown. Nissan CVT specialists report that owners who treat manual mode as their default driving style show shudder, whining, and delayed response symptoms years earlier than owners who let the transmission operate normally. The cost of that habit is brutal. A belt and variator replacement on a modern Jatco CVT runs between $4,000 and $7,000. Severe cases where debris has reached the valve body and pressure control circuit climb past $8,000. All of it traceable back to pretending your CVT is a sports car gearbox. The right approach is simple. Use manual mode for the situations it was actually designed for. Engine braking on long descents, controlled passing on the highway, brief spirited driving on a back road. Daily commuting does not require paddle shifters, and your Xtronic lasts substantially longer when you let it do its smooth, continuous job. Number 10. Sport mode kept on for everyday driving. Your Nissan Sport Mode sharpens throttle response, holds simulated ratios longer, and keeps your engine hunting for the higher end of its RPM range. On a weekend backroad drive, it transforms the car. Used as a permanent driving style, it silently accelerates wear on components that were engineered with specific duty cycles in mind. The mechanism matters. Sport mode commands higher sustained RPM even during gentle driving, which translates to more heat in your CVT fluid and more load on your engine bearings than normal mode would demand. Xtronic transmissions already run close to their thermal headroom in heavy traffic and hot climates. Adding sport mode on top of that baseline compounds the temperatures your cooling system has to manage. Over tens of thousands of miles, those temperature spikes can, according to independent technicians, shorten fluid service life, accelerate belt wear, and stress internal pressure control components. Altima and Rogue forums document owners who use sport mode for most of their daily driving and developed CVT symptoms noticeably earlier than the average. Early shuddering, inconsistent engagement, and whining at highway speeds all trace back to the same pattern. Valve body and solenoid replacements in that scenario typically run between $3,500 and $6,000, and the bill climbs if the belt is compromised. The fix requires nothing beyond awareness. Use sport mode on the days you want the car to feel alive. Merging onto a fast highway, a spirited mountain road, a brief overtake. Switch back to normal for the school run, the grocery trip, and the stop-and-go commute. Your Nissan rewards correct tool selection with drivetrain longevity you never have to think about. Every red light triggers a setting that hammers your starter. Number 9. Idle stop-start cycling in dense city traffic. Your Nissan idle stop-start system shuts your engine off at every red light and restarts it the instant you lift off the brake. Every single cycle is an additional start that your starter, battery, and engine mounts have to absorb, and in dense city driving the numbers add up far faster than most owners realize. Run the math. A driver in heavy urban traffic can trigger 30 to 50 stop-start events per day. Across a year, that is 10,000 to 18,000 additional starter cycles beyond what a non-stop-start engine would ever experience. Nissan engineered the system with heavier duty starters and specialized absorbed glass matte batteries, but both components still wear measurably faster than on a vehicle without the feature. Starter replacements on modern Altimas, Rogues, and Pathfinders commonly appear around the 80,000-mile mark, with absorbed glass matte batteries needing replacement every 3 to 5 years. The replacement costs sting. A starter and labor on a modern Nissan runs between $600 to $1,100. An absorbed glass matte battery properly coded to your vehicle adds another $300 to $400. The average owner keeps their Nissan 10 to 15 years, which means 1 or 2 additional replacements compared to a traditional engine, all caused by a feature you never specifically asked for. Your Nissan has a disable button every single time you start the car. Press it in city conditions where the feature triggers constantly. Factory memory modules are available that remember your preference automatically. Stop-start was engineered to pass emissions cycles, not to protect your starter for 200,000 miles. One setting punishes your engine through your oil. Number 8. Trusting the oil life monitor blindly. Your Nissan Oil Life Monitor does not measure oil. It runs an algorithm based on engine RPM, coolant temperature, trip duration, and ambient conditions, then estimates when a change is due. Most owners treat the 0% warning as gospel and push intervals well beyond what their engine can actually tolerate. The algorithm has a serious blind spot. It cannot detect whether your oil is holding up chemically. It does not measure fuel dilution from short trips, cannot track actual viscosity breakdown, and has no way to account for wear particles accumulating in the sump. On a direct injection Nissan engine, running oil past the point of chemical degradation accelerates carbon buildup on your intake valves and increases ring wear inside your cylinders. Those are 2 of the most documented wear patterns in the modern Nissan lineup, and they both trace directly to stretched oil intervals. Here is where Nissan and independent mechanics disagree. Nissan owner manuals list oil change intervals that extend to 7,500 or even 10,000 miles under normal conditions. Independent Nissan technicians with high mileage engines routinely recommend 5,000-mile intervals with quality full synthetic oil, sooner under severe service. That term covers towing, short trips under 20 minutes, extreme temperatures, and city traffic. Nearly every Nissan owner qualifies for severe service without realizing it. Shops charge between $50 and $120 for each oil change. A direct injection carbon cleaning service runs $800 to $1,500. A piston ring job caused by neglected oil runs $3,000 to $6,000. Change your oil early, change it often, and use the severe service schedule as your actual baseline. Carbon is already building inside your intake as you watch. Number 7. Ignoring direct injection carbon buildup. Your modern Nissan likely runs a direct injection engine, and direct injection carries a documented long-term issue that nearly every owner ignores until it becomes expensive. Fuel is sprayed directly into the combustion chamber rather than through the intake port. That design improves efficiency, but it also means your intake valves never get washed by gasoline the way they did on older port injection engines. Here is what happens over time. Blow-by vapors from your crankcase carry oil mist into your intake tract. That mist coats your intake valves. Over 40 to 50,000 miles, carbon deposits build up on the valve surfaces, choking airflow and disturbing the precise intake tumble your combustion relies on. Owners report rough idling, reduced fuel economy, misfires, and gradual power loss. YouTube mechanics have filmed Nissan engines where the valves are nearly closed shut with carbon. The consequences compound. A choked intake valve reduces your power, increases your fuel burn, and triggers check engine lights that your scan tool reads as misfires. Shops routinely charge $800 to $1,500 for a professional walnut blast cleaning service that restores the valves to clean metal. If the buildup reaches the pistons or rings, you're looking at $3,000 to $6,000 in further engine work. The fix requires active maintenance Nissan never mentions. Install a quality catch can to reduce oil vapor reaching your intake. Run a reputable intake cleaner every 20 to 30,000 miles. Schedule a walnut blast cleaning at 50 to 70,000 miles before symptoms appear. Direct injection is an efficiency feature. It comes with a hidden carbon tax, and only proactive owners avoid paying it at a shop. What about the habit that punishes your engine from the driveway? Number 6. Long warm-up idling in cold weather. Your Nissan engine warms up fastest when it is working, not when it is idling. This is counterintuitive for owners in cold climates, where the instinct to remote start and let the car sit for 15 or 20 minutes before driving feels like good care. The reality is the exact opposite of what most drivers believe. Here is what happens during extended cold idling. Your engine runs a rich fuel mixture to overcome cold combustion inefficiency. Excess fuel washes down cylinder walls, diluting your oil and stripping protective film from critical surfaces. Condensation forms inside your crankcase because the oil never reaches full operating temperature. Your catalytic converter runs cooler than optimal, reducing its long-term efficiency. 10 minutes of idling produces more wear on a modern Nissan engine than 10 minutes of gentle driving would ever cause. Manufacturer guidance across the industry confirms it. Modern engines are designed to warm up under light load. 30 to 60 seconds of idling is plenty to ensure oil pressure has reached every bearing. Beyond that, driving gently warms the engine faster, reduces fuel dilution in the oil, and gets your catalyst up to operating temperature in a fraction of the time. Fuel dilution alone can accelerate bearing wear measurably over years, and sludge from prolonged cold idling can shorten oil pump life by tens of thousands of miles. Your habit change is trivial. Start the car, wait 30 to 60 seconds for oil pressure to build, then drive gently for the first 5 minutes. No hard acceleration, no high RPM, just smooth everyday driving. Your engine warms in half the time, your oil stays cleaner, and your long-term reliability improves for free. Short trips do the opposite kind of damage you never see. Number 5. The short trip lifestyle killing your oil. Your Nissan does not know how long your trip will be. It does know whether your oil and coolant have reached operating temperature, and for short trips under 20 minutes, the answer is almost always no. Short trips are one of the most damaging driving patterns possible, and most drivers never realize they are doing it. The mechanics are brutal. On a cold or partially warm engine, fuel enrichment introduces raw gasoline into your oil. Moisture from combustion byproducts condenses in your crankcase rather than evaporating. Acidic compounds form as combustion blow-by mixes with cool metal surfaces. Across hundreds of short trips, those contaminants accumulate in your oil pan faster than any oil change interval can clear. Sludge forms on camshaft surfaces, varnish builds on valve bodies, corrosion develops on internal engine components, especially during long storage periods between short drives. Nissan high-mileage guides repeatedly warn about short trip driving patterns as one of the single biggest predictors of premature engine failure. Oil pump wear, piston ring deposits, and timing chain stretch all traced directly to the short trip profile. Rebuild costs in the $5,000 to $8,000 range are disproportionately common on vehicles with short trip histories. The fix is a combination of behavior and maintenance. Combine errands into longer trips when possible so your engine reaches full operating temperature regularly. Plan one longer drive per week, at least 30 minutes, to burn off accumulated moisture and contaminants. Cut your oil change interval in half compared to the factory normal schedule using severe service intervals of 4,000 to 5,000 miles. Your Nissan forgives a short trip lifestyle only if you compensate with strict maintenance. If you enjoy this video, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Number 4. Running cheap fuel on a higher compression Nissan. Your Nissan was engineered around a specific fuel specification, and the moment you drift below that specification, your engine begins compensating in ways that quietly accelerate wear. This matters most on VR30 and turbocharged trims that specifically request premium, and on any Nissan carrying an aftermarket performance tune. Here is what happens inside the engine when you run lower octane than specified. The combustion chamber experiences mild knock, and your knock sensor detects it and reports it to the engine control unit. The engine control unit pulls ignition timing to protect the engine. You lose power, you lose efficiency, and combustion becomes less complete. Repeated knock events, even at the mild level your sensors protect you from, can damage piston crowns, erode ringlands, and strain rod bearings over tens of thousands of miles. Nissan technical documentation focuses heavily on combustion and ignition timing calibration because modern high compression and direct injection engines live closer to the edge of detonation than older designs. The margin between clean combustion and knock is narrower, and cheap fuel eats that margin. Tuned engines lose their margin entirely, and aggressive tunes expect the octane specified by the tuner, not the cheapest grade at the pump. The cost of knock damage is not trivial. Rod bearing replacement on a modern Nissan engine runs between $2,500 and $5,000. Piston and ring work climbs past $7,000. A VR30 engine replacement in a severely knock-damaged case reaches into five-figure territory. The rule is absolute. Use the octane specified for your exact engine and tune. The $15 difference per tank is the cheapest insurance on your drivetrain you will ever pay. Neglecting one system is even more expensive. Number 3. Neglecting CVT fluid as if it is lifetime fill. Your Nissan CVT fluid is not lifetime fill, regardless of what the owner's manual suggests. This is the single most consequential maintenance decision you will ever make for your Xtronic transmission, and Nissan's own class action history on CVT failures proves how wrong the lifetime fill claim has been. The evidence is overwhelming. Nissan extended CVT warranties to 10 years or 120,000 miles on many affected models, a quiet acknowledgement that the lifetime fluid claim never matched real-world reliability. Independent Nissan technicians consistently recommend CVT fluid changes every 30 to 60,000 miles under normal use, and sooner under severe service. Owners who have changed their CVT fluid at those intervals report transmission longevity, measured in hundreds of thousands of miles. Owners who followed the lifetime fill advice often needed full CVT replacement between 90,000 and 140,000 miles. Your CVT fluid does specific jobs. It lubricates the belt and pulleys. It carries heat away from internal components. It provides hydraulic pressure to every clutch engagement and every ratio change. When the fluid degrades from heat and shear, every one of those functions suffers at once. Fluid technicians report dark, burnt samples loaded with microscopic metal debris on vehicles that followed the factory lifetime advice, compared to clean pink fluid on vehicles changed at the 30 to 60,000 mile range. The math is unforgiving. A proper CVT drain and fill at an independent Nissan specialist runs between $300 and $500. A full CVT replacement caused by neglected fluid runs between $4,500 and $8,500, often more on newer trims. Follow the severe service interval, use only Nissan NS2 or NS3 fluid matched to your transmission, and your Xtronic can outlast the rest of your car. Number 2. Stretching your factory maintenance schedule to its limits. Your Nissan factory maintenance schedule was written for two audiences: drivers who rarely push their vehicles and marketing teams tracking the official cost of ownership. For you, the real owner driving real miles, it is almost always too optimistic. Every interval in the back of that manual assumes conditions most Nissan owners do not actually meet. The schedule says engine oil every 7,500 or 10,000 miles. If you drive in summer heat, winter cold, short commutes, or do occasional towing, your Nissan qualifies for severe service, where the interval drops to 5,000 miles. The schedule lists continuously variable transmission fluid as lifetime. Independent specialists recommend changing CVT fluid every 30 to 60,000 miles. The schedule lists spark plug replacement at 100,000 miles. Nissan technicians routinely see carbon-fouled plugs on direct injection engines at 60 to 80,000 miles. The cumulative damage from following the normal schedule instead of the severe service schedule is enormous. Neglected oil contributes to direct injection carbon buildup and ring wear. Stretched CVT fluid intervals lead directly to the transmission failures that drove Nissan's warranty extensions in the first place. Old plugs cause misfires that damage your catalytic converters, adding another $1,200 to $2,200 repair to your future. Each one individually leads to repairs in the $1,000 to $8,000 range. Stacked together across 10 years of ownership, the bill climbs into 5 figures. The math is painfully simple. Severe service maintenance on a Nissan costs you an extra $300 to $500 per year in fluids, filters, and plugs. Neglected maintenance costs you thousands of dollars per catastrophic repair. Follow the severe service schedule as your default, not your exception. Number 1. Believing your Nissan was built for longevity out of the box. The single most damaging belief in Nissan ownership is the assumption that your car was configured with your long-term interests as the top engineering priority. It was not. Every factory setting you will hear in this countdown traces back to one reality. Your Nissan was optimized for EPA fuel economy numbers, marketing performance targets, and initial cost of ownership metrics that matter most during the first 3 years of the vehicle's life. Think about what that means for you as an owner planning to keep your Rogue, Altima, Pathfinder, or Maxima for 10 or 15 years. Eco Mode protects fuel economy numbers, not your CVT belt. Idle Stop Start protects emissions ratings, not your starter. The lifetime CVT fluid claim protected the marketing story about low maintenance, not your transmission. The 7,500-mile oil interval protected the cost of ownership advertising, not your direct injection engine. Every single one of those choices was made with a specific goal, and longevity beyond the warranty period was not it. The owners who keep their Nissans to 200,000 and 300,000 miles all figured out the same thing. They override factory defaults intelligently. They follow severe service maintenance schedules. They change CVT fluid regularly, regardless of what the manual implies. They address direct injection carbon buildup proactively. They treat their vehicle as a piece of hardware that needs active management, not a passive appliance that maintains itself. The difference between a Nissan that fails at 90,000 miles and one that runs past 300,000 comes down to which owner you choose to be. The information in this countdown is your starting point. Every setting we covered has a fix, a workaround, or a habit change. Apply them, and your Nissan rewards you for decades of trouble-free ownership. Ignore them and you pay in thousands of dollars of avoidable repairs. Across all 12 settings, one pattern is impossible to miss. Your Nissan was engineered for the showroom, not the odometer. Every hidden default, every factory calibration, every marketing first interval exists to make the first 3 years look flawless, regardless of what happens after. None of this means Nissan builds inferior vehicles. The engineering is capable, and the Xtronic CVT can genuinely last hundreds of thousands of miles when properly maintained. But the ownership experience extends far beyond the warranty, and the dealership has zero incentive to prepare you for it. Now you know what they never bothered to tell you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next one.